when I have people I wouldn't think listen. They're like, hey, listen to your show. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Look, we're gonna go places maybe we never expected.
I just love watching wrestling every week. I love what they provide us, and I just want to, in my own little way, kind of reach out and touch the wrestling world and be a part of it. And so the Lariat Lounge was born. Welcome to the Lariat Lounge. This is the home of smart takes, hard hits, and real talk. I'm your host, Everson Godfrey, co-host Andrew Skeens. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the first annual Lariat Awards. This is our 2025 wrap-up where we hand out the superlatives for all of your favorite superstars, our winners for male and female wrestler of the year, as well as the coveted match of the year. This is going to be a fun episode where we discuss all of the great things that have happened in the world of professional wrestling, our takes on the world of professional wrestling, the podcast in general, and of course, handing out these illustrious individual trophies. So without further ado, Skeena, how you doing on this wonderful New Year's Eve, brother?
Doing good. One more, squeeze in one more Lariat Lounge, maybe the most prestigious episode so far. So I'm excited to start the tradition here.
Absolutely. So, this is definitely the shiniest episode for sure. These big invisible trophies over here are gleaming. So we're going to hand these out. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Before we get started with all of this, Skeena, got a quick update for you and for the fans as well. So,
okay, hit me with it.
We have moved up in Apple's rankings for pro wrestling podcasts in the United States. We are now, drum roll please, 139. Yes, thank you.
139.
139.
I expected you to say like 193 or something. I love that. That's awesome, though.
139. I had to double check it to make sure, because I saw that and I was
make sure it was real.
Yeah, I had to make sure it was real, and I went and I looked into Refonic, and I looked into what it is that they were looking at, and no, sure enough, they were looking at our podcast. So we moved up a solid like 27 spots, maybe something like that. Looking good going into 2026, sir. I think we're doing all right for ourselves.
Hey, that's awesome, man. And then of course that's thanks to everyone that listens and tunes in every week. Absolutely. We'll be here. More of you are seemingly coming here, and we're happy to have you all.
Yes. I even heard we actually had some participation this week with the polls for the Lariat Awards. Is that right?
We did. We got some good participation. So we'll have some fan winners and some interesting picks from certain people in certain categories we can shout out and talk about. But thanks to everyone that participated over on Instagram. Worked out pretty well. So we can start doing that a little more, maybe a couple more times. But yeah, it's nice to hear from everyone, see who's out there listening and giving us a shout.
I love it. I love the fan participation. I'm glad we've gotten to the point now where we've reached into your very hearts and your souls, and we got you to participate. Listen, we're greater than The Rock, right? Because we reached out and we actually got your souls, and now we've got you participating, and we appreciate that. The Rock couldn't do it. The Rock had to quit, but we got here. We did it, and we couldn't have done any of this without you guys.
We showed up to work.
We showed up to work.
We showed up to work, finished. We started this angle with the Lariats last week, and we're here to finish it. Unlike some.
Unlike some, and like others, we finished our story. And, that's what we do. And listen, we could not do any of this without you. Skeena said it earlier. Genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys. This is going to be a fun episode. Skeena, you've already pointed to the participation on Instagram. Where else can people reach out and participate with the Lariat Lounge?
You can come back and listen to the number 134. Is that what it is? 134? 139, 134, hopefully coming soon. The number 139 wrestling podcast in the United States. We're coming at you once a week, every week on all your favorite podcast platforms. Wherever you get your shows, we're there. That's Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify. Give us a listen every week. We're also over on Instagram, which is where we did our polls at the Lariat Lounge podcast. So give us a follow, give us a shout over there. And as always, the email inbox is open at the Lariat Lounge at gmail.com.
And guys, listen, anywhere that you listen to this podcast, any of those outlets, if you're loving what you're hearing, leave us a like rating wherever you are. It's a small thing for you. It's free, but for us, it genuinely means the world. So we really do appreciate it. Interact with those polls whenever they pop up on Instagram. We do those for you, and we love to hear what you guys have to say, and your input is always valuable over here at the lounge. So we do genuinely appreciate it. But hey, without further ado, we've rolled out the red carpet for you and our fellow wrestlers. We don't wrestle, but we rolled out the red carpet for those men and women who are here for the Lariat Awards. So hey, enough with the fluff. Let's get to the stuff. Skeener, welcome to the 2025 Lariat Awards, brother. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 8 categories here. We're going to go through each one of these, okay? And we're going to announce the category, and then I will list out the nominees just like they do at any great award show. And then we can talk. You and I will discuss each one of these nominees in reference to the category that they're in. And after we've discussed, then you and I can cast our ballots for the most improved, or most improved, but each winner of the category. We can cast our nominees for the winner. Then what we should do is bring in the fans, right? And between the 3 of us, you, me, and the fans, will determine the winner of each one of these categories. Sounds like a game plan?
Sounds good.
All right, cool. So first off, we're going to start with most improved for the men. This category is for all of the people who we feel have come to the squared circle this year and really stepped their game up. They have leveled up a bit. They have done a bit above and a bit beyond what it is to not just show up to work, but to show up to work and show out. So this category consists of Jey Uso, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Dominic Mysterio. Skeener, what are your thoughts on the most improved for the men? Who you thinking about with regards to improving the most in the year of 2025?
All of these guys definitely saw a step up in at least their kayfabe standing for sure, and I think everyone improved on their game, added to their tool bag, so to speak. We got one veteran in Jey Uso and three guys I would say on the younger side who are more of the future, and always interesting, but always nice to see a veteran also kind of step up, and it not just always be a youth movement in terms of people that are improving vastly. Obviously, Jay became an icon, a movement unto his own.
Yes, he did.
With the Yeet movement, and I know some people feel a certain way about that, but it's undeniable the success he had, and of course reaching the pinnacle of his career for sure with a singles championship at WrestleMania. Not just a singles championship, a singles world championship.
Yep, that's it.
At WrestleMania. The Braun and Bronson, I mean, we see every week they are poised to be the future of the company. And then you've got Dom, who has just steadily for years now, I guess, just continued to cash in on all the promise and all the talent and all the things people say about him. Yeah. So, we have a lot of good nominees. For me, the most improved, I'm looking at someone who changed my perception of them the most this year.
Yeah.
With what they did. And while all these guys had great years, and I'm a huge fan of all of them, and you can hear pretty much every week how I heap praise on all these guys.
Yeah.
My pick for the person who has improved the most in terms of their perception with me is Big Bronson Reed.
Okay.
And I think being a part of the Vision helped, but I think he has been the one. It's almost like I almost unfairly handicap Dom and Braun because like it's almost like yeah, they're getting better, they're awesome, they're supposed to.
Sure.
But like so maybe I'm a little blinded to that, but Bronson Reed I think was someone who I think I've spoken about at one point I was not the biggest fan of, especially when he was rehired after I think he was a COVID era cut and then he
Yeah.
came back. But I've completely 180'd on him. And that's, somewhat due to his presentation, but a lot due to just his work and how he's gotten better. And he's showing with the vision that he has all the tools. He can back it up in the ring. He has the presence, the aura, as they would say, and he can also get it done on the microphone. And I think he, to me, has shown the most that he is maybe can reach a level above what I thought he did. So I'm going with Big Bronson Reed here.
All right. That's a good pick. I didn't think you were going to pick Bronson Reed, but you laid that out very well. And I can absolutely see why you would have given him that nod. So it's not a bad pick, and none of these are bad picks by any means. But I think for me, where I'm going to start is I'm going to start where you started, right? Which is on Dominic Mysterio and Braun Breaker. Now, we loud Braun Breaker and Dom with praise all the time. And it almost feels like, duh, of course they're going to level up. Like they are shoo-ins here, right? And I think everything you said about Bronson Reed is right. And Jey Uso has, like you said, I think you said it great. He has literally shown us in front of our eyes this trajectory upward, right? Over the course of a little over a year, right? Just this yeet movement has just been a crazy, interesting thing to watch. Both the highs and some of the lows. It's been a crazy thing to watch. For me, Skeener, I took a very objective approach to this, right? Who has literally shown me the most improvement? Because I could have went either way with any of these people. And for me, I think when it comes down to who literally showed me the most improvement, I got to give it to Jey Uso. I think that the longevity matters in this category specifically, right? Jey has always been a top level performer, but with regards to where he could go and what he could be as a singles competitor, right? We started planting the seeds for main event Jey Uso way back in the bloodline, right? And with the disillusion of the bloodline softly when Jey left, the bloodline was still there, but Jey was on another program and he was doing his own thing, right? And we've literally got to watch the rise of main event Jey Uso over the last 2 years, right? Who has objectively shown me the most improvement, right? In 2025, it's got to be Jey because you land with that world championship title win at WrestleMania, right? That is his penultimate moment there, right? Where he wins the championship, his brother's at his side. This is at the grandest stage of them all, right? And then he goes on his title run. And the Yeet movement is absolutely crazy, right? I have no doubt that each one of these individuals showed tons of improvement over this year. For sure, Braun Breaker, who honestly, he was almost going to be my pick because the leveling up that he's done in such a short amount of time since Seth got injured is nothing short of incredible. He's definitely shown that, like, okay, you are a force to be reckoned with on the microphone when given the opportunity, right? But over the course of the year, I expected a lot of what Braun Breaker was going to do, and he did it. And he showed out and showed improved, right? But I give it to Jey Uso. I think he's just shown me the most absolute overall. But who do the fans pick? We did a poll on Instagram for most improved men's wrestler of this year. Skeener, what did our fans say about the most improved men's wrestler of the year?
Well, if you were looking to break our tie, you may be severely disappointed
Okay.
because over 50% of the vote, the fan vote, went to Dominic Mysterio.
Wow. Okay. Big Dom. Okay.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, look, Dom continues to not. not a bad choice at all. And obviously, Dom is insanely popular. People are recognizing his skill. Not that they didn't before, but he's the lovable heel. I think deep down everyone loves Dom.
Yeah.
And becoming a double champion, the AAA mega champion, having a two match series with John Cena with some of his last matches. I mean, it's very obvious what the WWE as a company thinks of Dominic Mysterio, and it's just all the potential he is cashing in on it. And like I tried to say, I unfairly handicap him and Braun for that because like I expect them to be this good,
Yeah.
but certainly he has leveled up his game as well. Just his command of the crowd every week, he continues to deliver in the ring and just build and evolve on this character, and that resonated with the fans of the Lariat Lounge. We'll shout out
Okay.
one specific write-in here from our guy Mike Chiari over at Ring Rust Radio,
Mike.
who sent who his pick for most improved was Ethan Page. And I
Okay.
think that I get that. That's a good pick. We don't focus as much on
No, we
NXT,
don't.
so probably not going to be as much in our sphere. And I admittedly don't always catch NXT, but I will say I've liked Ethan Page's stuff. He has definitely I have a different perception of him now than maybe I did before,
Yeah.
and just wanted to shout out that pick. But yeah, the fans over 50% went with Big Dom. So
Okay. Dirty Dom. All right. Well, listen, I think for the first nominations here, you and I are split, right? We are split between
mhm.
Jay Uso, Bronson Reed. The fans selected Dom. How do we decide who the winner is here? So,
I will say everyone got a vote.
okay.
So it is very split. It's not like people completely rejected any of the nominees.
So what was the ranking for the votes here from the fans? So number 1 was Dom.
So Dom,
Okay.
and then everyone else
An
was
equal amount.
tied.
Okay.
Yes,
Everyone else
between
was tied.
Jay, Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, and Ethan Page.
So I'm thinking if we've given a vote to the fans and the fans have selected Dom and you and I are split, maybe we give this one to the fans.
I'm fine with that.
Maybe we give this one to
None
the
of
fans.
these are choices I disagree with.
I
So.
agree. I agree. I think that the list was curated in a way to where everyone has a viable shot here. So yeah, if there's a split between you and I and the fans break the tie, then the fans break the tie. But the fans have it. So our most improved wrestler for the men's in 2025 is Dirty Dominic Mysterio. Congratulations, Dom. That trophy's in the mail. We appreciate it. There is no monetary prize, but you're getting paid well already, so don't even worry about that. So moving on, we're going to the most improved women for 2025. This is a shorter list, but I'd really tried to curate this list based on who I thought really should be in this spot. So for the most improved women, we have Maxine Dupree, Jade Cargill, and Raquel Rodriguez. So I'll kick this one off. So when it comes to the most improved women, I'm going to be I think I'm going to be a bit biased here. I have a genuine soft spot for Raquel Rodriguez. I think I have been praising her for her improvement this year for the entirety of the Lariat Lounge's run. Like I think that Big Mommy Cool has just stepped her game up continuously throughout this year. And I remember distinctly where she was in the ring before these improvements started showing. And I mean, you can literally see it. If you go back and you look at some of her matches from like a year ago, you can see how much more comfortable physically she is in the ring. She's not botching nearly as much, right? She's definitely found out exactly where she fits in the ring. She's a bit more solid technically in the ring, but then also she is so much more comfortable in front of the camera. She's so much more comfortable on the mic. And listen, I don't know what conversation she allegedly had with Kevin Nash. This is true, right? I don't know what conversation she allegedly had with Kevin Nash, but something about that flipped the script for her. It flipped the switch. And she just really stepped into her own in 2025. So much so that we've seen Raquel Rodriguez challenge for the Women's World Championship on 3 separate occasions this year, right? She is, in my opinion, far and away the most improved women's wrestler. Now, this is taking nothing away from my second place pick, which was Maxine Dupree. She's just shown a ton of improvement this year, but a lot of that has been in the ring for sure. Because if there's one thing that we've always kind of praised her for was the fact that she's just got this it factor about her, particularly with regards to how composed she is on the microphone and how much of her presence seems like she understands professional wrestling and how that conveys on screen. And I think she's always had that even before she started getting more into the in-ring action. And we've definitely seen a lot of improvement with her in the ring, and particularly apparently 4 weeks in the dungeon is enough to, make you a menace. But that's 4 weeks. And Raquel has been showing this improvement across the entirety of the year. So even though Maxine has the IC championship right now, I don't see her vying for a world heavyweight championship anytime soon. Whereas Raquel is in that picture already. And that's a huge improvement over last year. So my pick is going to Raquel. Skeener, who you got?
So, I definitely agree with everything you said about Raquel. I remember us talking about on the early episodes of the Lariat Lounge earlier this year. I remember us talking about how much we just liked the little things she was doing in the backgrounds of segments and stuff in the Judgment Day in the clubhouse, and how she was maximizing her few minutes and it's sometimes even her few seconds on screen. And I think she's been great, but I had to my vote's going to go to Maxine, and it's just because, and maybe it's a little, colored by Prisoner at the moment, because this really started happening the latter half of the year, her ascent, but I think it's been too much of a rising phoenix to deny,
Sure.
honestly. And if I was voting for anyone else, I would be coming up with reasons not to pick Maxine. So I think that says something. But I think just there was no way in my mind that in the first parts of this year you would convince me that we could do an entertaining 3-match series, months long angle between Maxine and Becky Lynch, and that Maxine would somewhat look not out of place the whole time, and by the end kind of look like she belonged in that spot. And the fans have really gravitated towards her. I think there's a connection there, and just being able to, quite frankly, be taken seriously in the ring and as a champion is a huge improvement from where Maxine is. And you can tell she's working hard at her craft, and I think she deserves her flowers. Not that Raquel doesn't, for all the reasons you said, but my vote here goes to Maxine.
Okay. So we're split once again. So Everson's vote is for Raquel Rodriguez. Skeener's vote is for Maxine Dupree. But what did the fans say? Let's take that envelope. Me and Skeener are on stage, and the winner goes to who? Skeener. Who did the fans pick?
Well, the fans were also split. No, not a single vote for Jade, which, we may be a little indicative of what she has not done since winning the title. But I think when it comes to Jade, everyone, it's kind of a known quantity. We're just waiting for her to get the opportunity to
Yes.
showcase. So, yeah, votes split between Maxine and Raquel, and by a one vote margin, the fans went with Maxine Dupree as
Okay.
the most improved women's superstar of the year.
I think that's deserved. I think that's deserved. Shout out to my girl Raquel. You know, I think you had a wonderful year, but I don't. It's
Yeah,
hard
she,
to.
I mean, not taking anything away from Raquel, because we've
No,
talked about her ascent.
no, we have. And listen, it's hard to disagree with Maxine, and I think you laid it out very well, right? Which is the fact that Maxine has had this 3 match feud with arguably the greatest female wrestler of all time. And it's not just her saying that, right? It's been really fun and really interesting to watch. I do think the fans have gotten behind her. And I am anxious to see how long she can sustain this, right? Where does this go after we leave Becky Lynch? But currently, Maxine is your Intercontinental Champion. And I do agree. It's hard to imagine this time last year thinking that Maxine Dupree was going to have had a months long 3 match feud with Becky Lynch and also be the person to beat Becky Lynch for that IC title. I remember specifically you and I talking about Becky Lynch and her IC title run with Lyra and Bailey and all of these other people who were orbiting around that picture. And at no point, this was in August, right? Maybe July. Nobody was talking about Maxine Dupree in this picture. And yet here we are. And Maxine is your IC champ. So for me, this is kind of how I was looking at, what was it? Might have been,
Jay.
yeah. This is
Yeah,
kind of how I
it
was
was
looking at Jay.
what I thought. Yeah.
So yeah, no, I listen. The fans have chosen. The envelope has been open. Maxine Dupree, congratulations. You are the Lariat Lounge Award winner for Most Improved Women of 2025. That trophy is in the mail. No monetary award, obviously, but we do appreciate you. All of our nominees here. And before we move on, let me just say something about Jade Cargill. So this is, in my opinion, in no way disrespect to Jade Cargill. But ever since Jade Cargill came to WWE, her ascension has fallen into this like inevitable category.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, that's what I was trying
You
to
know what I
convey.
mean? Like it fell into this inevitable category, along with people, in my opinion, like Stephanie Vaquer. And this category is whether or not they actually ascended, right? But Stephanie Vaquer, Jade Cargill, Julia, some of these people who came in either last year or this year, they seem to be in this inevitable category where their trajectory was going to go to the top no matter what it is that they did. Now, this does not mean that Jade did not improve, right? I think Jade absolutely improved. As a matter of fact, when she came back after Naomi quote unquote injured her on the windshield of that car, she had some of the best work that I've seen her do in the WWE this year. And she wasn't even saying anything, right?
Yeah, it's not that she hasn't improved. I just think the improvement hasn't been as in our face as the other two.
I agree. And I also think her improvement has also been, just being honest here, it's also been stifled a bit by her winning the WWE Women's Championship and then what she's doing with it currently. Like it's just a stale air right now. And it's giving a lot of Tiffany Stratton vibes. And I'm not entirely sure what to do with that, but it definitely has something to do with, as far as my opinion is concerned, with who I picked. And I'd be shocked if that did not impact the fans' viewpoint on this as well, to a certain extent. But Maxine Dupree is your winner for Most Improved Women's Wrestler of 2025. So congratulations. Moving on. So our next category, Skeener, this is going to be a fun one. The next big thing, men's. The nominees are Obafemi, Javon Evans, Trick Williams, Braun Breaker, Dominic Mysterio. We've already got somebody in here who's already won a Lariat already. But this is a stacked category. Skeener, your thoughts on these nominees, man, and who is your pick for the next big thing of 2025?
So, I mean, we've got 5 immensely talented nominees here. And I think any one of them is a candidate to be, the rising star of 2026 and in the next year. It's just who gets the ball, because I think they can all run with it sufficiently. And I think people are starting to throw Obafemi into the category that Braun Breaker once was, as a sure thing. Seems like he's going to get the call up soon. Same for Trick Williams. Uh, we've seen Javon Evans do the same. His popularity's coming. And then you've got Dom and Braun who are, doing it now, I would
Yes,
say.
I agree.
And I think you can make a good case for any of these guys. And I think all these guys are going to have huge 2026s, or at the very least have the opportunity to,
Yeah.
because these are guys that the company is seemingly very, very behind. This one for me was another one about that the process was, can I talk myself out of who immediately is my pick when I
Mm-hmm.
see the next big thing for 2026? And I'm not going to talk myself out of it. I think it's gotta be Braun Breaker. And I think
True.
the Ascension's coming, and the Ascension may come next week.
True.
So we may be talking about how he is the big thing come next week. So yeah, I just think it's all there. It becomes more and more apparent that he keeps, as we said, passing the tests and checking the boxes, and he's become undeniable. Like the any pitfall that there could have been on the rise, I think he's navigated it. He's answered all the questions that people have, especially when it comes to the promo work side of this. He's hugely explosive and athletic in the ring. And I think, while all the other guys can have that huge 2026, and I think Dom's an interesting case we could talk about after that, after you vote. But I think it's just, look, Braun's already here. He's shown what he is. He's getting a world title match. I can't imagine 2026 not being a huge year for Braun Breaker, who is my choice.
All right. And you know what? I honestly, I kind of thought that that's where you were going to go. And I'm happy that I know my friend. So, hey, look, that's all good. Listen, let's talk about it. Okay. All of these people are shoo-ins, in my opinion, for a big thing in WWE. That's why the category was put together in such a way. And I honestly feel like, aside from maybe some of the match of the year contenders, this is the most contentious category on this card, like hands down. Every one of these individuals, I think, is right on the cusp. Right? Here's my argument against Braun Breaker. Nothing against Braun Breaker and his ascension. I think that it is imminent for him to win this world title. And I told you before, I've said it on the podcast. I don't know if CM Punk is going to hold on to this title. I don't know if he's going to, right? Because Braun Breaker is right there nipping at his heels, literally, figuratively. He's doing it, right? I'm going to say this. Braun Breaker said it best on Monday Night Raw. I'm tired of people telling me that I'm the next up, that I'm the future, I'm the now. Fair enough. I don't disagree. I think that Braun Breaker has always been, since his, call up, and specifically entering into the Vision, we knew that his trajectory was to the top. And I think that the Oracle Paul Heyman calling him the future WrestleMania main eventer is apt. I think it suits him. And I definitely think that he's going to do that. When Seth went injured, Braun had to step up. You went for being the future to being the now. I think because of that, and not just because of that, but that's a big thing, but because of that, and the fact that I'm curious what Braun Breaker looks like in his next iteration. And I say next iteration because we really only got to see maybe one or two sides of Braun Breaker. And this is not a knock against him, but we've seen intense Braun, right? And we've seen less intense Braun. And he executes flawlessly. He has these intangibles that you just can't teach. And it makes this character work. But if I had to say, Skeener, one person that I think has more of those intangibles, that is a natural at this, and he has executed and shown this execution on multiple different levels with multiple different character arcs, right? And multiple different flavors to that. And every time he steps in front of the camera, he's magic. He's magic. And I said it before, and I'll say it again. When Whoop That Trick plays for the first time over the loudspeakers on the main roster, I don't know where you're going to find the roof, but it's going to blow off that place. And Trick has got it. Trick has every single tool you could think of. If you watch, did you go back and watch that triple threat with Obafemi, Javon Evans, and Trick Williams?
I did, yes.
How phenomenal was that match?
Yeah, it's why all three of them are on this list.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that match was crazy. And listen, we've seen Javon Evans on our screen, right? They've given us Javon Evans quite a bit. He's literally the next person to get called up on this list, right? And we've seen Obafemi once or twice, right? We just saw a promo for the Ruler on Monday Night Raw. I thought that was pretty cool.
And on SmackDown.
And on SmackDown.
We've had two. Yeah, so
you know what I mean? You know
he is imminently arriving as well.
Imminently arriving. You know who
as his Trick? Didn't we see Trick?
He was on Monday Night Raw. He was in the backstage talking to Adam Pearce, right?
So yeah.
So, but the person who we've seen the least of on the main roster, Trick Williams. I think that's on purpose. I think that's because they're saving him for last. I think they're saving him for last because Oba is going to smash, right? Everybody loves Javon Evans already. And when Trick comes out, forget about it. Like, to me, this was a difficult choice, but once I landed on it, it made all the sense in the world. My pick is for Trick Williams. But we don't always decide, and we certainly don't decide here. So, Skeener, you've got the envelope. Who did the fans of the Lariat Lounge select for the 2025 next big thing in the men's category for the Lariats?
Telling vote split again, as every single nominee garnered some of the selection.
Okay.
And we have, again, another situation where we are split, and we are split with the fans by a small plurality of the vote.
The winner is?
For the fans, Obafemi.
Oh, big Oba. Nice.
Yep. Which, again, I think this is telling of the amount of talent and next big things that can come from this company in the next year, and how well set up that is. And I think one vote in particular exemplifies that. My man, my guy Benito, that I met through the wonderful WWE Supercard game, which I've been playing for well over a decade at this point.
Nice.
Met him. He's on my team. He cast his vote for everyone, for all of the nominees. So, good pick, because I do, like I said, I think all these guys are in for a big 2026. And we did not touch on Dom specifically, but if next year was the year that Dom has a world title run, I don't think we'd be surprised at all.
No.
And that's just indicative of how good he is and how seemingly secure the future is with WWE right now.
Agreed. And listen, Dom has got some competition, right? Because if all Javon is, we might as well say Javon Evans is here, right? And Oba is imminent. I think Trick is imminent. And of course, Braun Breaker and Dom are already here. Dom and Braun are not going to have an easy go at the top. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's a good thing for professional wrestling. And
Yeah, in
listen,
a good way, because these guys, these could be the guys that are, at the top of the card
yeah,
here.
for the foreseeable future.
Yeah,
For the
in
foreseeable
five,
future.
6 years, these are your Seth Rollinses, your
Yep. Roman
and
Reigns.
guys like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
I agree. And listen, let me say this. Obafemi was my odds on pick at first because I have touted Obafemi. Listen, when he showed up to challenge Cody at Saturday night's main event, I said on the podcast, if you did not understand the magnetism of one Obafemi before that night, you did now. Like, you did now. That man did not feel out of place in that ring. As a matter of fact, when he walked into the ring, when the ruler walked to the ring, Cody, in my opinion, felt like you might be out of your depth. And that is such a great place to be when you've got a baby face like Cody, right? If you're going to keep Cody the white meat baby face, right? And you're not going to just bring in a bunch of heels to throw at Cody, what you need to do is, even if he's got the title, you need to make Cody look like he's the underdog at the top of the card. And how do you do that? You put viable competition around him. And Oba is that person that when he's in the ring with Cody, Cody feels a bit like he's out of his depth. And that is a great place for us as wrestling fans to be going into 2026, because I'm telling you, if for seeing, barring any injury, which apparently Dom is injured, but if we get all of these men on the main roster in 2026, man, the PLEs, brother, are going to be out of control, because these are going to be like banger after banger after banger. And you need to replace some of these people at the top of your card, because we've been talking about all year, right? You're getting into this retirement segment, this retirement age for a lot of the people who have been at the top of the card for a long time, right? The Sheamus and the John Cena's and the AJ Styles and the Randy Ortons, right? They're not competing as much. You know what I mean? AJ's going the hardest out of that group, right? But then it's like, where's Seth Rollins? Injured. We don't see a whole lot of Roman, even though Roman is still going strong. He's just not competing, you know what I'm saying, as much as we would like to. So the top of the card is going to get filled. And this new crop, listen, I saw the other day that Jericho is definitely coming back to WWE. Watch out, Jericho, because listen, the top of the card is stacked, and a run-in with a couple of these people could be a short run for you. But congratulations to one Obafemi, well deserved, and we're moving right along. Our next category, Skeener, next big thing for the women, we have as the nominees Lash Legend, Sol Ruka, Stephanie Vaquer, Roxanne Perez. So, I feel like, did you lead off for the last category? I think you did.
Yes, I did.
Okay. So, next big thing for the women. So, arguably, and I will admit, I think that one of the people in this category probably doesn't even need to be here, because
I agree.
She probably doesn't need to be here. And this category probably could have been left to just 3 people, but she's here now. And honestly, I highly doubt she probably got a lot of the vote anyway, because she's already here. But of the 3 that I'm
no spoilers, but
no spoilers. I don't know what the results are, folks. So I find out at the same time that the world does. But I think if I had to pick the next big thing, I've lauded so much praise on all 3 of these women. But if I had to pick somebody who I think is like next up to really shake up the women's division, I think I'm going to have to give it to Roxanne Perez. I think I'm going to have to give it to Roxanne Perez simply because at the top of the card, she's a proven commodity. I think her NXT run as both a face and heel champion, right? Being able to hold it down there. And then you come to the Judgment Day on the main roster, and you fill in flawlessly for Liv Morgan while she's injured, right? And not only do you fill in, but you become an integral part of the Judgment Day. We've said this time and time again. The Judgment Day is currently the best breeding ground for who WWE thinks is talent that needs a few refining edges shaved down, and then they're ready to go, right? And we've seen what it's done for Rhea Ripley. We've seen what it's done for Damian Priest. We see what it's currently doing for Dominic Mysterio, Raquel Rodriguez. You know, we were just talking about her on the Most Improved, and she's been in 3 world title matches this year. I think Roxanne Perez is being groomed for a top spot. I think that of all of these people that are in this category, I think Lash Legend is crazy good. I think she's got a great future ahead of her. But when I think about where that future is, I have to think kind of hard. Not that she doesn't have one and that it's not at the top, but I just can't envision it. I just can't picture it right now. That means it's not there. I just can't picture it. Sol Ruka, I think that her physical talents are phenomenal, right? And WWE will be foolish not to capitalize on that sooner rather than later, right? Because her moveset is crazy. And with crazy movesets comes a bit of a risk, right? One false step, one bad fall, she's out for months. You know what I mean? And then you may have limited moveset. I think that her ability on the microphone is great, but Roxanne trumps all of them when it comes to her ability on the microphone. She is technically sound in the ring. And I think that she's already being prepped and primed for that top spot. They're just waiting for the right opportunity for her to do that. So my pick is going to go with Roxanne Perez. But Skeener, who do you got, brother?
So, I won't even bury the lead here. You spoke of someone you like and can't envision the future. Well, I can, and my pick is going to be Lash Legend.
Okay.
And I think she has shown me so much in the short time that she has it all. She's checking the boxes for me she still needs to pass the tests as they get put in front of her, but she's just the total package. I mean, you can tell she's a former WNBA player. She's got the athleticism. She's got the size. She has the character and personality, and maybe it's playing the character she gets to, and she does it well, kind of helps at this point. It doesn't have to be very understated and have much nuance at this point, but I think that's a plus. I think she has the most potential to really break out in 2026. I could see a feud between her and Jade. Obviously, they're both heels right now, but I could see that. I could see her as a foil for Charlotte Flair, for anyone really, just because she brings the size, the athleticism, the character work. I think she's most suited to have a big 2026. Not that any of these women couldn't. Uh, Sol Ruka, you're right. The athleticism, the look is there. I don't know where she is on the main roster as a what the character of Sol Ruka is.
Yeah.
Really. And Roxanne, I still need to see the character shine in a solo sense. Like she fits into the Judgment Day well. I need to see her on the main roster as Roxanne being the main focus.
Yeah.
And then I think you were hinting like Stephanie, like to me she's already here.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
and I need to see more of the character and figure out what that Stephanie Vecchia character is before I say that bigger things are there. And that's not a knock, because like what's here now is plenty big. Like, she's a champion, she gets huge reactions, but to see it go to the next level, for me, I would say I need to see a little more of what this Stephanie Vecchia character is beyond what we see now. And hopefully, again, we get that in you know, well, if we didn't just wrap it up, these Nikki Bella feuds. So for me, it's Lash Legend. She just ticks all the boxes, and I think she's in for a really big next year. But we can send it to the fans here to break our tie.
Yeah, you've got the envelope,
And,
brother. Who the winner
and you
is?
with a and again. we had every nominee got a vote. So
Nice.
again, that's becoming a theme. I think the only nominee so far to not get a vote is poor Jade. But you said you didn't think a certain person would commandeer much of the vote, and our winner for the fan vote for the next big thing for the women is Stephanie Vaquer.
Okay. Okay. Now, I will say this. I think the fans are right here, and I'm going to give them their props because they are the ones who voted. And so the award for next big thing for the women goes to Stephanie Vaquer. Congratulations. Your trophy's in the mail. There's no monetary award, so don't expect it, but it's on its way. I will say this. I think that putting Stephanie in this category in general was a mistake because she's already here. But we're not going to harp on that. I will say this, though. I have been very curious what the longevity is for Stephanie Vaquer.
But that's where I'm at as well.
You know what I'm saying?
I need to see something else happen.
Yes, because I would venture to say, and this is not any of our fans, I believe, but as far as people in general in the world of professional wrestling, right? Does Stephanie Vaquer currently not fall into the same criticism zone that some people gave to Jey Uso in his title run, that he's all entrance? And mind you, all the people who said that he's all entrance, I think they're ignoring the fact that he is a good professional wrestler, that he knows what he's doing. And, you know, yeah, he had some slips and stuff like that, but they're human beings, man, and they're doing a physical thing, and things are going to happen like that. But that's irrelevant. The fact is he's a good professional wrestler, but a lot of people who were levying criticism towards Jay's title run were saying that, well, it's all entrance, really. Okay, Stephanie Vaquer is a phenomenal in-ring competitor, and she does things in the ring that are really amazing to watch, right? But there's so much emphasis that's put on the devil's kiss that I'm wondering. A few weeks ago, she made a comment. It was on.
I was gonna bring this exact thing up.
It was part of her promo. She said, "I'm more than the devil's kiss." I agree. I just want to see more of that.
Yep, I gotta see it. She said it. I'm waiting to see it.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
I'm right there with you.
Every week we see it in the ring. I like that's it's undoubtable how good she is wrestling wise, right? But your technical prowess in the ring does not a great professional wrestler make, and that you need all the other elements. And I've given her, in my opinion, all of the latitude with regards to understanding that there's a language barrier there, and that she's working every week to improve on her English. And I see it. I'm not holding that against you. But what I am saying is that when it comes to your feuds, oftentimes we've had to lean very heavily on the people you're feuding with to get these feuds over, right? And it doesn't help that you've got this Wednesday Addams thing going on where it's like you don't really emote a lot. And so it's hard for people to kind of get a read on your character and what it is that you could emote in a feud. So we're really only left with things that we see on screen, which is your entrance, which is your ring attire, which is your wrestling prowess, and the devil's kiss. And if you're more than the devil's kiss, you need to then prove that you're more than your ring attire and that you can do more than just be a great wrestler in the ring. It's taking nothing away from you. I'm just saying, Skeena and I think we both agree here. We're just waiting to see if there's more. Because right now, I'm wondering with the roster continuing to grow, right? And you've got all of these women that are waiting in the wings. I mean, these last two categories, right? For most improved and next big thing for the women, right? We've talked about Maxine Dupree, Jade Cargill, Raquel Rodriguez, Roxanne Perez, Sol Ruca, Lash Legend. Those are just the people who are on the come up, right? When we start getting people like Bianca Belair coming back into the picture, when Charlotte and Alexa are not doing their tag team thing anymore, when Rhea and Io are not doing their tag team thing anymore, right? When Nia Jax comes back onto the singles scene, you know what I mean? Because we just spoke about Lash Legend, right? Where does Stephanie go from there? That's what I want to see. So with all that, congratulations, Stephanie Vaquer. You've won the trophy for today. And we are moving on. So our next category, Skeena, is, let me see, we're out of order here. Okay. So now we're getting to the big four, brother. So men's match of the year. These are going to be very, very interesting conversations. I can already see that now. So, for men's match of the year, the nominees are CM Punk versus Roman Reigns versus Seth freaking Rollins. Triple threat match, WrestleMania 41, Night 1. CM Punk versus Gunther with Seth Rollins Money in the Bank cash-in. The World Heavyweight title, SummerSlam. John Cena versus AJ Styles, Crown Jewel Perth. John Cena versus Gunther. Cena's final match, Saturday night's main event. Skeener, you had the distinct honor of leading us off with your match of the year picks. What are you thinking, brother? Who you got?
So I'm starting this, and as I'm talking to you now, I have not decided where my vote is going to go.
We're doing it right in a moment.
So I am. Oh man, I'm. All these nominees are great matches, and there's been plenty of other great matches. A few will shout out in the fan votes. We had a couple good write-in candidates. For me, it comes down to it's between the WrestleMania triple threat.
Yeah.
Obviously Rollins, Reigns, and Punk, and Cena's last match. And these are the two that had me the most invested, that I was watching on the edge of my seat and was the most into. Like, those are the ones I was glued to the screen and really wanting to see who won and how they won and what happened coming out of it. And they both were great. They both brought me in there as a fan. Phew. You know, I am going to, or am I? I really am undecided in this.
This is
moment,
good.
But I am going to, by the thinnest of margins.
All right.
I'm going to give it to the WrestleMania triple threat.
Yeah.
Just because it was a little more, there was a little more intrigue on what was going to happen. And maybe that's not the way other people, or what was going to happen coming out of it. And maybe that's not a great way to look at what is the match of the year if we're containing it to just the match. But I don't think there are wrong choices in this category. I really don't. But for me, just the way that match was built, the way it was a culmination of not just leading up to this WrestleMania, but over a decade of build and backstory, essentially. And you know, it's great bell to bell. It's fantastic entrances. One of the best video promos, I think, ever still.
Agreed.
And just everything about that. And, you know, culminating in that, CM Punk getting his main event, the finish, and how that set up essentially the rest of the year with the Vision. I think that match just very slightly edges Cena's final match to me, which is, again, we lauded praise on that. It's a moment in time unto itself. But I think if I look back in totality and not just try to get rid of the recency bias, it's very slightly the WrestleMania triple threat to me.
Yeah, no, I keep muting myself. Okay, so yeah, no, I hear you, brother. No, that I'm not going to bury the lead here. My pick for the men's match of the year is CM Punk versus Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns, triple threat, WrestleMania 41, Night 1. This was close for me, but it was only close. Okay, if I had to rank these in order, for me, number 1 was the WrestleMania Night 1 triple threat. Number 2, just being honest here, folks, CM Punk versus Gunther. Then it would be Cena's final match, followed by John Cena, AJ Styles, Crown Jewel purse. I think that the triple threat at WrestleMania, like you stated, adequately set the stage for everything that was not John Cena's farewell tour for the rest of the year. Everything else that is happening outside of the Judgment Day, women's wrestling, and John Cena's farewell tour happened because of this match, right? On top of that, the match was freaking phenomenal. Shout out to Paul Heyman and the double turn, right? It's easy to forget that at the beginning of the year, Paul Heyman was still with our tribal chief.
Mm-hmm.
We've moved so far away from that. It's easy to forget that he was the wise man at the beginning of the year, right? And listen, there's an emotional element to this as well, okay? When John Cena smiled whilst in Gunther's sleeper hold and casually tapped, hit me in the feels. I got it. Like Skeens and I were talking about that on the live stream, right? We got it in the moment. And then they fleshed it out further on Monday night, right? With the video package. But Cena recognizing he was at the end and there was no more need to fight. That hit me in the feels. It genuinely did. John Cena versus AJ Styles. Dude, the dueling of finishers from all across their eras, that was, as a fan, that was pure fan service. Loved every second of that. CM Punk versus Gunther. Listen, that was a great match at SummerSlam. What I remember the most was Punk winning that title, Seth's music hitting, and Seth coming out there on crutches.
Dropping those crutches, yeah.
And dropping those crutches. Dog, I lost it. I love that Seth Rollins I think he is far and away right now probably my favorite pro wrestler on their roster. Because everything he does to me just works. And that's a tight circle because Punk's right up there too. But that was gold. But this match here, when Paul Heyman is deciding who he's going to slide the chair to, and he slides it to his tribal chief, and his tribal chief smiles, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm about to beat the brakes off of Punk. And then the low blow. And the crowd is stunned because Paul Heyman has sided with CM Punk, right? And no, he sided to Punk, doesn't he? He sided to Punk. And then he gets in the ring and he low blows Punk.
Mm-hmm.
And then the tribal chief is like, okay, now we're in business. And look who's laid across the ropes. Seth Rollins. You can get him back for all of the pain and suffering that he has caused you ever since the Shield broke up. And right before he's about to land the killing blow, a low blow from Paul Heyman to the tribal chief. As Seth Rollins stands up, he has architected the entire thing. It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. And it genuinely made you wonder what the future of the year of professional wrestling was going to look like. You know what I mean? And it's like, it has just shaped the careers of Bronson Reed. It has shaped the career of Braun Breaker. And now Logan Paul and Austin Theory, not to mention Seth getting injured. And now Braun Breaker is the top guy. All of this started from Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman in this triple threat match. To me, this was close, but it was only close. To me, there was only one winner that I could select, and it was this match. But though Skeens and I are on the same page here, the fans have voted. Their vote is in the envelope. Skeens, who is the winner of the men's match of the year?
Garnering 50% of the vote, the fans agreed with us that the triple threat from WrestleMania Night 1, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns, was the match of the year.
Hey, I think I said everything I needed to say. I mean, as Skeens, you said with your piece, and the fans agree. This match is just far and away, man. You know what I mean? Like, it just had...
Yeah, it was... It delivered, too.
Yes.
And that's, sometimes it's easy to overlook, but it had all the hype and delivered, which is not easy to match the level of hype that match had. But had some good write-ins. My buddy James Dorsey sent a write-in for Cena and Cody at SummerSlam. And I think I had to, when I saw that, I thought back, and unfortunately I had forgotten, but yeah, what a match. I mean, that was incredible. that may have been, man, I don't want to say Cena's best match, but may you could make an argument bell to bell, absent other factors, that was his best of the year.
Okay.
And I think we'd have looked back on that a little. That would come to mind more fondly if, some people had shown up to work in the interim, I think. But yeah,
Yeah.
what a great match there. My buddy Chad, he wrote in Cena Dom. He did not
Oh yeah.
specify which one, but I will. Yeah, I mean, in terms of what I was talking about, and glued to the TV, both of those, I was glued to the TV, and that's just again a credit to Dom, but Cena too, to give Dom those moments. Those matches were awesome. And then Mike Chiari, his match of the year is the TLC match we got earlier this year on SmackDown. Street Profits, DIY, and the Motor City Machine Guns. And I'd forgotten we just got kind of that, I don't want to say random, but random TLC that was an incredible match. And it's unfortunate that none of those teams are doing much right now. I mean, I guess
Agreed.
DIY kind of is, but that in itself was a fantastic match. So
I agree. I agree.
it's nice to have this perspective. But in all, the fans agreed with us that the triple threat was the match of the year.
And listen, as far as those other matches are concerned, so the triple threat ladder match, that was the TLC match. Was it TLC or a ladder match? I think it was just a ladder match, right?
I think it was a TLC.
Maybe
I
it was
think
a
they
TLC.
branded that a TLC. And then later in the year, I think SummerSlam, we had a 6-team ladder match for the
Okay.
SmackDown tags. But I think they branded it a TLC.
I think that TLC match was a really great match. Was it match of the year? No, I don't think that was.
For me, and I think everyone knows at this point, we need the hook along with the moves.
Yes, I mean, listen, I think that you could go to, and listen, if this match happened on the SmackDown that you went to, or the Raw that you went to, or the house show
Correct.
that you went to, it could be a phenomenal match in the best show, the best match of the year that you watched, right? Even if I were to consider it on this scale with these matches up here, it just gets drowned out. That's just my opinion, right? Was this match of the year? No. Was this a great match? Yes. John Cena versus Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. I think that was a great match. I think there were some things about that match, the lead up to that match and the follow up to that match, that took it out of the running for me, right? One, I did not like the fact that we got John Cena's heel run come to an end with a stern conversation by Cody before SummerSlam. Like, let's just wait. Let Cena go into SummerSlam as the heel, right? Let have heel Cena versus face Cody. And then maybe you build something within that story arc where Cena has a change of heart. That could have played out a whole lot more. But then you follow that with Brock Lesnar coming out. Like, it got a little convoluted. Yeah, that wasn't necessary.
It's always necessary.
Listen,
Just hearing that guitar sound brightens my day.
listen, it did not brighten my day for that match. I think for me, Brock Lesnar's inclusion in that match was not necessary. I did not think that was necessary. I think that John Cena turning face before the match was not necessary. And I think all of those things in concert made that a really great match, probably one of Cena's best matches on his farewell tour, but it knocked it down below the John Cena AJ Styles match. And Perf, that was just pure nostalgia. That was pure fun. That was pure fan service. And I find very few people online who genuinely disliked the Cena AJ Styles match. And then what was the other one that was mentioned for the write-in?
Cena and Dom.
Okay, so Cena and Dom. I have nothing bad to say about those matches. I think that Dom absolutely showed why A, he deserves to be here, and B, Cena. Listen, I don't think anybody else going out the door got the individual stamp as hard as Dominic Mysterio got from John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
And That if that doesn't say to you that A, nepotism is real, and B, that Dominic Mysterio is going to be a star here, then I don't know what you're watching. And I'm joking about the first part, but not really. But that's not a knock. Dom has earned his spot here. And Dom is great. I've heaped praise on Dom continuously in the past, and I will continue to because Dom is freaking great. But John Cena, that stamp of approval on Dom twice. Hey, look, it did not make the list for match of the year because I don't know which one I'd pick. Right. But yeah, no, great write-ins here. But I think that the fans have spoken. We have spoken. I think that the pick was the appropriate one. And so shout out to the trio of Punk, Reigns, and Rollins. There are trophies going out in the mail, no monetary prizes. You guys are making a ton of money, so you don't need it. But we thank you for your participation. And we're moving on to our sixth category of the evening, which is the women's match of the year. And our nominees are, and this one's stacked, folks, Io Sky as the champion versus Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair, women's world title triple threat, WrestleMania 41. Io Sky as the champion versus Rhea Ripley with the Naomi Money in the Bank cash-in, singles match, Evolution 2. Naomi versus Jade Cargill, no holds barred match, Evolution 2. Liv Morgan versus Bianca Belair versus Naomi versus Bayley versus Alexa Bliss versus Roxanne Perez, Elimination Chamber. I think I'm leading this one off, Skeener. All of these matches were absolutely great. I think just to kick this off the right way, this was a phenomenal year for women's wrestling matches, straight up and down. Like these matches in this match of the year category, all of these, in my opinion, were crazy good matches, right? Blockbuster matches. And I think that is a credit to the people that are in the ring for making all this stuff work. But I would be lying to you if this did not boil down to one person in particular and why these matches work. I'll save that person for later on. But if I had to pick the women's match of the year, I am going against the grain. I am not picking the WrestleMania 41 triple threat. I think that's a great match, and that's arguably, by a lot of people stating online, probably one of the greatest women's matches of all time. I don't disagree. For me, however, I'm going to have to give this to Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley at Evolution 2. That match, to me, was hands down the best women's match of the year, period. That match had so much built into it. Just the feud at the time that has turned into this blossoming friendship between the two of them. But that feud, the idea that Rhea cannot conquer Io, that Io was the unconquerable, unclimbable mountain for Rhea. And could she do it? And Io not being able to get the respect that she deserved as champion. That built off of what came from WrestleMania, with Bianca and Rhea going head up with each other and everyone just kind of pie-facing Io, right? And then Io having this breakout year where she just proves why she is arguably the best female wrestler in the world. And you go into this Evolution 2, which is the second all-women's PLE ever, right, for WWE. And this is the marquee match. Now, Naomi versus Jade is also on this Evolution 2 card, right? That was a great match. I'm mentioning that because Naomi takes a beatdown, a serious beatdown by Jade Cargill. She loses that match. You have Io and Rhea, and they're having this world-class 5-star epic match. They're both down in the ring. I think it was like a top rope Spanish fly, and I
can't remember.
They're both down in the middle of the ring. And then, oh my gosh, Naomi's music hits and Naomi comes limping down to the ring. She still beat the hell up from the Jade Cargill match, turns it into an impromptu triple threat. And then the match continues. And with a split leg moonsault on Io Sky, Naomi wins the Women's World Championship. Man, I had never been A, more enthralled in a match, B, so proud of one particular wrestler for reinventing themselves, right? And presenting themselves in a new light. So much so, she could have gone in the most improved. She could have gone in the most improved. She could have gone in the most improved over some of the other people that are there. There was only 3 people there. She could have gone in that category. But Naomi cashes in and wins the world championship. And the stage was set for the women's wrestling division. That match set it off. So in my pick, I think that it's a no-brainer. I think Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley with the Naomi Money in the Bank cash in is easily my women's match of the year. But Skeener, what's your pick, brother?
So you went against the grain, and I guess I'm going to go with it because
Okay.
my pick for the women's match of the year is the WrestleMania Triple Threat. I
Okay.
just thought for delivering that on the biggest stage, and like you said and alluded to, kind of the not the shock, but the well, no, shock's a good word of EO winning because you're right. It nothing in the lead up made you think EO was going to come out, and I think that the same way, kind of the men's triple threat that won match of the year set the stage for the year. It has been the year of EO Sky, as you can see in this award, and maybe one coming later, that she has just ascended to this status where she's going to deliver at every turn. And that's taking nothing away from the match that she had with Rhea that led to the Naomi cash in. You were talking about. I mean, that's an all-time moment too. For me, just as a match, having that extra piece to play with, I think nobody does triple threats better than WWE on a big stage and a big time triple threat. Just having that extra little piece to play with always puts it over the top for me. And it was close, but I kind of, and I know it's part of it, I kind of separate it because the Naomi cash in almost overshadows for me what was an incredible match.
Hmm.
Like, and I know that's not even fair, but if I'm being honest, that's what puts the WrestleMania triple threat over the top to me by the slimmest of margins.
Yeah.
So we are split between Rhea and Io with the Naomi cash in at Evolution 2 and the triple threat between Rhea, Io, and Bianca Belair at WrestleMania 41 Night 1.
We are split, sir. We are split, but you have the envelope. So, for the category of Women's Match of the Year, the winner goes to whom?
The fans were split.
Okay.
We have a tie
Okay.
between the WrestleMania Night 1 triple threat and Rhea versus Io with the Naomi cash in.
Ooh. Okay. So that's a tie. Okay. So, in the.
And we can blame all this on James Dorsey, who voted for the Jade versus Naomi street fight from Evolution 2, leading to the tie. Everyone else voted for either the triple threat or
the Evolution 2 match.
yes, the Evolution 2 Rhea and Io with the cash in.
Well, listen,
So
thank you,
it's
James
dead
Dorsey.
split.
Thank you, because this leads us to something that we may not get to do on this card any other time. This is the Lariat Lounge, Lariat Awards tiebreaker. So
we got to order 2 trophies, or do we?
No,
Oh, no.
we may, but what we're going to do first is we are going to have a little litigation here between you and me, and we're going to argue for our pick, okay? And we're going to argue against the other. This is not to downplay the other, right? This is just arguing for our pick, okay? This is impromptu. This was not planned, but this is where we're going, okay? So I'll lead off. My only thing, and this is only my opinion, I have a hard time when I think back on that triple threat match at WrestleMania. What happened? Maybe that's time. You know, we've been so far away from WrestleMania 41, right? But like, I distinctly remember what happened at the end of WrestleMania 41 Night 1 match for the triple threat with Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns, right? It was laid out for me so well that it was stamped and etched in my memory. When I'm talking about Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley at Evolution 2, I remember distinctly how that match ended, right? Let me rephrase. I remember distinctly how that match was concluding prior to the Money in the Bank cash in, right? I remember exactly what was happening when that Spanish Fly came off the top rope, right? They were beating the hell out of each other. When Naomi came out there and she was limping, right? It just sold other matches on the card in a way that other matches did not have the opportunity to do, right? It also gave you a 2-for-1. It gave you a great singles match that was culminating a epic feud between Io and Rhea. And it also gave you a triple threat in the same match, right? It also gave you the Naomi cash-in victory. And listen, had Naomi not been blessed with motherhood, Naomi would still be here as the women's world champion. It was the year of Io for sure. And I love Io, not taking anything away from Io, right? But a lot of the spotlight coming out of Evolution was able to be reclaimed in that scene between Io and Rhea because Naomi's not here. And I think that in and of itself holds so much weight. Plus, we haven't seen Bianca the rest of the year. She got injured in that match, and we haven't seen her since. So actually, she was the referee in the No Holds Barred match with Naomi and Jade. But no, I think this match gives you all the things. And I think that the match of the year candidate for the women should be a match that encompasses everything that you would expect from a match of the year candidate. I didn't genuinely think that this match delivers on all of that. It gives you a great singles match, a great triple threat match, great in-ring action, shock, awe. It gives you moments that you remember, right? And it gives you the ascension of a new big face in the main event scene, and an apt one and a deserving one, and someone who is absolutely ready for that spotlight. So I think it just hit on all cylinders. But Skeena, I see the floor to you, sir.
You know, I obviously, in the end, we're splitting hairs, and I agree with everything you're saying, but a little bit of it is lost for me in exactly what you brought up, in that this was Naomi's crowning moment, and then she has been gone. And I think maybe if Naomi was here, I'd feel different, that impact to me is more than me calling Io's crowning moment essentially at WrestleMania. I just think the impact coming out is greater. I think if you're trying to say either match bell to bell is better, you're down to your personal preference. These were two of probably the 4 or 5 best matches of the year, I think, with the two we were debating in the men's match of the year. I think these are the matches that were truly set apart. But just doing it on the stage of WrestleMania, and I get that it wasn't a main event, but it felt like a main event, and they kind of made that stage their own on the biggest stage possible. Versus, I get it, Io and Rhea were the main event of their own PLE, but the WrestleMania stage and delivering in, and it being that moment for who became kind of the defining, or one of the defining women's wrestlers of the year, and now this era of Io, that look, Rhea and Bianca are these big stars and these big names, but the company is now going to inject me into that conversation, puts the WrestleMania one a little over the top for me. And again, that may be because Naomi hasn't been here to capitalize on her moment of the same, and we'll have to see. And maybe that's why I feel this way, but I think the fact that Naomi did have to go away hampers it a little for me.
Sure. Okay. So here's how this goes. Okay. So You've laid out your argument for your pick.
Okay, I know where you're going.
I've laid out my argument for the pick. And now we're going to throw it back to the fans. Between these two, if you're listening today.
So what we're doing is we're throwing it back to James Dorsey because I doubt anyone changes their pick.
I guess so. Here's what we're doing. So what my idea was that you litigate, I litigate, right? We speak our minds on our picks, right? And now we throw it back to the fans based on your argument and based on my argument. Who should win here, right? Like, who is more convincing with their argument here? Because there's no way you can flip. I mean, I could flip a coin. I got a stack of quarters right here. But matter of fact, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna flip a coin.
We can just add we can call Dorsey on Discord. Bring him in.
You think he's on?
Put him on the spot. Now he's probably working, but
we'll hold off on that. I'm gonna flip a coin, okay? And I'm gonna flip a coin, and I'm going to add heads or tails, prescribe it to each one of these, right? And we're gonna hold off on saying what the heads or tails is, and we're also gonna throw it back to the fans. I want you to see who argued this better, right? And if the fans give us back a definitive answer, then that will be the women's match of the year. And if they don't, then we'll go to the coin flip. Okay. And who won? So heads is the triple threat and tails is the singles match. Okay.
Okay. Singles match that turned into a triple threat.
Yes. Okay. That one fell off the desk. Okay.
There you go.
Okay. We got our pick. All right. We got our pick. So we're going to throw it back to the fans. You guys let us know. Skeener will throw up a poll on Instagram based on the arguments. Who argued their case better for the match of the year? That should determine who the women's match of the year winner is. There is no bad decision, right? So let's see what we've got. And listen, if it comes down to where we're split again, or we don't get responses to give us an adequate answer, I've got the coin flip right here, and I know what the coin flip is stated for us, okay? All right. Okay. So now we're moving on to the men's match of the year. Let me make sure I notate this one here.
No, we are not. I believe we're moving on to men's wrestler of the year.
You're right. I got confused because my list is out of order. Okay, so wrestler of the year for the men's. The nominees are CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, John Cena, Gunther, Jey Uso, Dirty Dominic Mysterio. Skeener, you're kicking us off with this one, brother. This is the big one for the men. This is the big one. Yeah, a match of the year is huge. Right? It's a big one. But male wrestler of the year. Who's your pick, brother?
Another tough one. Tough one for me. And I think, man, all these guys are deserving. As you'll see, I'll go ahead and spoil it, that everyone received at least one vote in the fan vote. So fans split as well. To me, I think this was the year of CM Punk.
Okay.
And I think we kind of, it's more out of mind now, but getting that WrestleMania main event, ascending to the championship, which I get he may not have done without the Seth Rollins injury, and that may have been held off, but the cards that were played are what they are now. But coming back and I'm not retiring him, but at this stage of his career, still being the guy and being there most of the shows. He had a run with his wife gets to return to the company. He gets to have that moment. Like I said, he wins the title. He has his WrestleMania main event. He's out there. He's getting, depending on who's on the show or even whoever's on the show, he's getting the loudest reaction of the night. He's commanding the crowds. He's as good on the microphone as ever. I think just the consistency with which CM Punk has been the focus of any show he's on, I think this has been his year, where everyone else I could kind of go through and say, well, they dipped a little bit.
Sure.
So that's where I'm going. Is I'm going with CM Punk.
Oh boy. I mean, listen, this is it's hard to argue that. This is a tight category and it's got a lot of people in it, and there are a lot of people here who rightfully deserve it. I think I am torn right now between 4 of these picks, and that's no disrespect to the others here, but man.
Well, tell us who's getting kicked out.
Okay,
Who are you not between?
So as much as I love Cody, I'm not giving the pick to Cody Rhodes. I think Cody has had a good year, but I also feel like as champion, Cody has played background to feuds he's in. And
yes, I think Cody, through maybe no fault of his own, but his 2025 was not his 2024 or even his 2023.
It's hard to trump the finish the story thing, right? Like you've got to go big. And when you're sidelined by the John Cena farewell tour, right? You're sidelined by this year-long, almost like a seasonal story, right? Is being told with John Cena. It's very difficult. You had great matches against Kevin Owens. You had great matches against Drew McIntyre. You had great matches against Cena, right? You had these really great matches, but they get lost in the sauce when it comes to some of these other things that are going on. So I've struck Cody from this conversation. I've also struck Jey Uso. I think Jey Uso has had an incredible year. I'm not one of the people who hated on Jey. I enjoyed Jey's run, but I also think that there are just other singles wrestlers who have overshadowed him this year. So it's short and sweet for Jey, but I'm striking him. I'm also striking Dominic Mysterio. Dom has been incredible, but I think he falls in the same bucket, in my opinion, as Jey. I think there are just other people who have overshadowed him this year. So that leaves me with these 4: CM Punk, Seth Rollins, John Cena, and Gunther. I think I'm going to strike John Cena because though this was the year of the retirement tour for Cena, and it's been fun, this was all planned to be the year of Cena. I think Cena is great. I think that his farewell ending was great. I think that the heel run was very fun, but there were so many bubbles and hiccups and dropping of the ball moments in the Cena farewell tour that just, I don't know. If I have to rank it amongst these 4 people for the wrestler of the year, I have to count these things. You know what I mean? I have to count these things. And so I'm striking Cena. That leaves CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Gunther. It pains me to do this, but I'm trying to be objective here. I have to strike Gunther. Because there was a long period in the middle of the year after he lost to Jey that he was gone. That's taking nothing away from him retiring Goldberg.
That's what I thought too.
You know what I mean?
It was a dominant year for Gunther if you take out the losing to Jey and then being competitive with Pat McAfee.
Yes.
I guess.
Yeah, I
those happened this year. Those happened.
They did. And he was competitive in a competitive match with Pat McAfee. He lost to Jey.
And maybe other people don't hate that the way we kind of do. But
listen, the whole Pat McAfee thing, I just kind of thought that was a little over the top, a little cartoonish. But
I think Gunther was miscast in that for especially what he's doing now.
Yes,
you wouldn't think the Gunther of today goes 15 minutes and struggles with Pat McAfee.
With Pat McAfee, right? But then he loses to Jey, and I don't hold that one against him. Jey is a legitimate competitor, right? But he lost to Jey. He was gone for quite a bit. But he also then retired Goldberg. He retired Cena, right? And he is easily the best heel on the roster right now. Easily, hands down. And, that's no small feat. But I have to strike Gunther on the reasons that we stated before. So now we're down to CM Punk and Seth Rollins. This is hard because I don't think, in my personal opinion, that CM Punk had a better year than Seth Rollins. But I also think that their roads were intertwined so close, right? And Seth Rollins getting injured hurts him a little bit. But I think that those are cons on both sides. I think that Seth hurt himself and that took him out of what was building up to be this crescendo that we'll never actually get to see, right? What it was going to be. But I also think that overall, he had a better year than CM Punk. And had Seth not got injured, CM Punk may not be champion right now. It may be the year of Punk in 2026. But a lot of things got fast tracked because of Rollins' injury. And honestly, if I'm being real with myself, as much as I have enjoyed watching both these wrestlers this year, I think, Skeeter, I'm going to have to give the nod to Seth freaking Rollins.
Wow.
I think Seth Rollins.
A swerve.
I genuinely think that Seth Rollins had the better year than CM Punk. I think that the injury at the end of the year sucked ass, right? But when you look at the fact that his injury shifted the entire landscape of half the card of WWE wrestling, you know what I'm saying? Because everything that was tied up with the John Cena stuff was tied up with the John Cena stuff. And we stated this earlier, right? Aside from what was going on with John Cena, and aside from the women's division, everything else was tied up with the division. All the things that were predicated and built off of the WrestleMania Night 1 main event. Seth Rollins was the linchpin to all of that. When he got injured, everything had to shift. The world champion had to shift, right? Braun Breaker had to move up. The vision had to get rotated around. You know what I'm saying? Like, so many things changed shape because of his absence. And he made it through 90% of the year. I think CM Punk...
Did he? Did he? Because he was fake hurt for a while, too.
True, but that was all within the storyline. Because that culminated with the Money in the Bank cash-in at SummerSlam, which was also a crazy moment.
It was.
Right? You know what I'm saying? That was a crazy moment. He currently, if I'm weighing him against CM Punk, right? He had the crazy moment at WrestleMania, right? He was the predicator and the recipient of the double swerve, right? Then he builds a stable. That's another crazy moment. You know what I'm saying? He facilitates
which finally got a name.
After so long.
After it was a running bit for you.
I begged and pleaded all year. But they finally got a name. That was a crazy moment, psych. But it facilitated the rise of Braun Breaker. It facilitated the rise of Bronson Reed. You know what I'm saying? Like, it gave a home for Logan Paul to not be simply hated and respected. And now he's developing a character off of the back of the vision, right? It is the current home of one Paul Heyman. And then he followed up with another crazy moment with the Money in the Bank cash-in. That was one of the craziest moments of the year. And not to mention the match that he got injured on was a freaking crazy good match that he also finished. I just think that CM Punk had a great year, but his year was only made greater because A, Seth Rollins was a part of it, and B, Seth Rollins got injured. So my pick is going to the architect, the visionary, the revolutionary, Seth freaking Rollins.
Okay.
But we are not the people who decide. The people who decide are the fans. They have voted. Skeeter, you have the envelope. Who is the winner?
Well, I need to issue a retraction because I had forgotten. I said everyone got a vote.
Okay.
Seth Rollins received no votes from the fans.
Wow. That's nuts.
And let me tell you, if you liked the women's match of the year, two-way tie, you're going to love the men's wrestler of the year, four-way split.
What?
Between Everson's pick of Seth Rollins,
okay,
my pick of CM Punk, and the votes evenly split with each of them getting about a third of the vote between Dominic Mysterio and Gunther. So we have ourselves a four-way tie.
Okay.
Between Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Dominic Mysterio, and Gunther.
Okay, CM Punk. I'm just jotting this down real quick. Okay, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Gunther, and Dominic. Right?
Yes.
Okay. This is
all respectable picks for me, honestly.
Agreed.
I dinged Seth because he he got injured and was away. But you made salient, great points. I think it's hard to argue that Gunther comes out of the year not looking like a complete monster.
Sure, absolutely.
And then I mean we praise Dom to the ends of the earth every week. So he's done something great every week, and the man is a double champion. Like you said, he got the stamp from John
Yeah,
Cena on his way out.
yeah.
He's
And
you know,
arguably, he's
even
been the most
even if he is
consistent.
not the yeah, even if he's not the top guy, we talk about how good he is every week. That has to mean something, and
Yeah,
it means something to some people,
yeah.
obviously.
He's arguably the most consistent. He's the most consistent, solid thing every week. That's not hard to say at all. What's difficult is how do we reconcile this four-way split? This right here, how do we reconcile this four-way split? Okay. So the fans have decided on these four. I'm not sure what we do with this. I'm not sure what we do
Yes,
with this.
the one vote each for Punk, Jay, and Cena from fans, who I won't call out by name, but you know who you are. They have led to this four-way tie. Oh, and Cody, of course, who I will call out. That is George Cruz, our resident Cody lifer.
Yeah, a resident Nightmare Factory live-in
Yep.
resident. Okay.
Yes.
So I think in this scenario,
You didn't expect this, did you?
I didn't expect this one.
We got to call it in the ring here.
I didn't
Things have
expect
gone
this one.
wrong, and we gotta call it on the fly.
I think for this one, let's do a real quick rapid fire for each one of the four remaining participants here: CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Gunther, and Dominic Mysterio. And we've already spoken very highly as to why we think these individuals should make the Wrestler of the Year. So I think the only way we make this fair, Skeener, is for each one of us to give a quick rapid fire of why we think that each one of these people should not make Wrestler of the Year.
Not.
Should not make Wrestler of the Year. We can give it an example. We've already given examples of why we think they should, right? And you spoke for CM Punk. I spoke for Seth Rollins, right? We spoke to Gunther. We spoke about Gunther, and we spoke about Dom to an extent. But yeah, let's try this out, and we will try this out, and then we will give it back to the fans. We'll give it back to the fans, and we will ask them to, based on these four, you've heard the arguments for each of these. Well, you heard my arguments for each of these people. But I think we should balance it with a reason for why we think that they should not make Wrestler of the Year. And then we'll throw it back to the fans, and we'll let them decide on, based on what we argued, right? Have their votes changed, because now it's just down to the four, and we'll have them vote one more time. Okay.
Okay.
So you led this one off for the men's. So I'm going to give this one back to you. So let's start with.
You want me to take two and you take two, or do you want me to hate on each of them?
Hate on each of them. Start with Dominic Mysterio and give me your reason why you don't think he should be the Wrestler of the Year.
Because being Wrestler of the Year is about being the biggest star on the show, and aside from the times he was in the ring with John Cena, he was not the guy. Yeah, he's great, but he's not the guy at the top of the card who they're building the shows around. We are primarily a WWE show, not a AAA show. So while we love Dominic Mysterio, he can't be our Wrestler of the Year when he is not the guy winning the titles on the poster, on the marquee, all that good stuff.
I agree.
Gunther, you spoke about a lot of the year the focus wasn't on him. When he was there, he's great, but the first half of the year, or the first part of the year, he's getting built up so that he can put over Jey Uso.
True.
Then he goes into this feud with Pat McAfee that gets a mixed reception that we didn't love. Then he kind of gets, as we called that, there was a defanging of Gunther. He then retires Goldberg in, a fashion that is not well received by everyone as well. And he does that. And then he kind of goes away and becomes an afterthought. And the rest of the year is just waiting for the inevitable crowning of Gunther retiring John Cena, which
Sure.
which was expected by most, but was he there being the guy most of the year? Not really.
Yeah.
When he was there, he was great, but I think saying Gunther is the wrestler of the year may be a little recency biased, even though he received possibly the biggest rub of the year in making John Cena tap out. That doesn't make the whole year his.
Agreed.
CM Punk is, I guess, the best loser of the year, the best also ran. I mean, he gets to main event WrestleMania. He gets to be a cog in that feud, but coming out, the story is about Seth Rollins. And like you said, Seth Rollins and the Vision are kind of what makes this go. Without that, is CM Punk as good and entertaining as he was? Maybe. But, I said him getting the world champion and being the world champion as part of this, that's also up to circumstance. I don't think he's the champion now if Seth is not injured.
Yeah.
And he just hasn't reached the heights that he once was. There's too many other factors to say that CM Punk is solely the wrestler of the year and not kind of best supporting actor. He's been great, but has it been all him, or is it the Vision and CM Punk?
Yeah.
And then Seth Rollins, the man, just got hurt. He hasn't been around for a while. He created the Vision, yes, but he was fake hurt for like a month, and now he's really hurt and been gone. He had a good case, and everything was all about him, and we were heaping praise. But sometimes you get hurt and you go away, and it sucks, but you go away. And if you're not here for so long, you can't be my wrestler of the year, just like Gunther.
I hear you. No, I'm with you. Now to recap
that felt nasty to do.
But it was the truth though. It's the truth though, because these are all the things that you go through in your head when you're trying to determine who your pick is, right? It's just a matter of voicing these things out loud, right? And so I've kind of stated a lot of these things already, but just to recap for these four, with Dominic Mysterio, I agree with you. I agree with you in the sense that the top of the card does matter, at least when it comes to weighing your position against these other three, right? Your CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and your Gunther. The top of the card matters, right? And so nothing against Dom, but yes, he was double champion over in AAA. He was the top guy, but this is not the Lariat Award for AAA. This is for WWE, right? And you held your own, you held your spot, but it just wasn't the top spot, right? I think if there was anybody who gets a negative handed their way that is the weakest negative, is probably that one, right? Okay, next is Gunther. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I stated that before, and you reiterated, which I agree with as well. Gunther is hands down the best villain that WWE has right now. This was a culmination of what came from the end of the year actions with retiring CM Punk. A good portion of the time this year, he was not here. You know what I mean? He was not here. And that's normally not a knock against you, but we're trying to split hairs here. And so we have to kind of gravitate to some of the things that would matter in this weighing off of things. So you're not being here. And like you said, he was playing the foil, which you have to do sometimes, but he was playing the foil in the match against Jey Uso, right? He was being played down against Pat McAfee, right? That just did not seem to fit. That didn't seem to fit at all with what he was doing. And it was just an odd placement for such a great wrestler in the year that just kind of threw it off a little bit, right? Then you've got CM Punk. I agree. I stated it before. I think he had a great year, but compared to Seth Rollins, I think that his year was second to Seth Rollins. I think that he definitely played his part in a lot of these things, but he's also very much the beneficiary of a lot of things that have happened for other people. Also, he kind of falls into that inevitability space because, he is a more recent return to WWE. And you don't bring in somebody the size and scope of one CM Punk and you relegate him to the mid card. That's not going to happen. We all knew that was not going to happen. We knew that it was inevitable at some point that Punk was going to return to the title picture, right? He was going to get there. It was just a matter of when. And I think that this year he had his moments at WrestleMania, and I think he's had some pretty good matches. But if we remember, CM Punk was injured for a little bit this year, and he was gone as well, right? And then he came back from his injury, and he's had a pretty good year. But he's played second fiddle to his wife. He's played second fiddle to Seth Rollins. He's played second fiddle to Roman and Seth in the triple threat match at Mania. Even though he had his moment, right? You give him his flowers with his video package because he's going to lose. And so, if Seth hadn't got injured, I don't think CM Punk would be world champion. And I genuinely think that at the start of 2026, WWE is going to write the story and bring it back in line with more of what their original vision, no pun intended, was supposed to be. Now that you've built the story up around Braun Breaker being the head of the division, I think they're going to put the title back on Braun. And they're going to carry the story forward the way that they were intending on doing, right? And they build up a good feud between Braun Breaker and CM Punk to set up Punk to maybe take the title off of Breaker in 2026 and move forward with business as usual. But I think that he was filling in for an injured Seth Rollins. And then Seth Rollins, he got injured. He got injured. And that does derail a bit. You've been building up this whole story the entire year, right? You build to this penultimate moment that we were essentially getting to with War Games, right? That whole scenario was going to be different had Seth Rollins been there. But he gets injured and you have to shuffle the entire deck of almost half of the card. That's hard. That's a difficult pill to swallow, but it's the truth. And it happens. And if we're weighing that against other people who have been gone away, you have to hold that against Seth as well. Now, take all of this into totality, listeners, and weigh that against all of the great things that we've said about these four people who you've already voted for. But I want you to just take all of this that Skeena and I have given you, take it into consideration, and Skeena will put out a poll on Instagram based on the arguments laid out and based on the four remaining people who were tied based on your votes, who gets the coveted male wrestler of the year. So we've got two revotes. We've got a revote that needs to happen for the women's wrestler of the year, and we've got the men's wrestler of the year. We still got the women's
match of the year. Yeah, women's match of the year and men's wrestler of the year. So essentially, you people that voted for Cody and Jay and Cena, you need to think about how wrong you were and pick one of the right choices.
Yeah, you're messing this up, guys. You're messing this up.
You answered wrong, and we're going to give you another chance.
Yeah, you get one more shot at getting it right. One more shot at greatness. Otherwise, you're getting left behind. Okay?
And I'm going to go ahead and predict that we'll have another runoff election here coming up for our final category. But you can lead us in here.
Okay. I mean, we shall see. So, Women's Wrestler of the Year, our final category for the 2025 Lariat Awards. The nominees are Stephanie Vaquer, Naomi, Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, Becky Lynch. So you led off the last category, Skeena. I'm going to lead this one off. Mm-hmm. So I am torn between picking with my heart and picking with my eyes. When I say picking with my eyes,
I'm talking about to me.
I'm talking about specifically what it is that I see on my programming every week. My heart is who has hit me on an impact level this year the strongest. If I have to pick, I think I'm going to have to go with my heart. And my heart is with Naomi. I think that if you look at her body of work from the start of the year, from the whodunit with who injured Jade to the tag team championship run that she
That
and
may have
Bianca
actually started
went on.
last year, right?
It started last year,
Yeah.
right? To the championship run that they went on, right? To the whole whodunit and the tape footage coming out, to Naomi admitting that she did it. And she did it because she wanted to protect Bianca from people who didn't really care about her. The way that Naomi was able to whip up tears in the moment sold every single one of these scenes. And let's not forget, every time Bianca and Naomi were in the ring talking about this thing, I don't know about you, but for me, I was raptured. I was caught in this soap opera drama that was happening. And it was being sold so well because these women know each other very well. And they're also able to just sell it. I don't know how they cry like that just on cue, but like they just sold it every single time. Right? So it made these instances where Bianca is pushing Naomi away because she's disgusted with her. Right? And this boiling up in Naomi of like, I can't believe you're rejecting me like this for her. And then the heel turn happens where Naomi seems to snap. But even in her snapping, right, there are still these glimpses in the beginning of how emotionally wrought she is by losing her friend, Bianca, over Jade. You know what I mean? But this is all kicked off at Elimination Chamber. When Jade comes back and Liv is in the ring because they've been trying to frame Liv, right? And Jade comes in the ring and starts to beat the brakes off of Naomi. Bianca is losing it in the chamber, right? And then we get this months-long feud between Naomi and Jade, right? Naomi wins the women's Money in the Bank. And the entire time we're thinking, oh, well, she can't cash in on Rhea and Io because, I mean, that feud is locked, right? Between the two of them. It's clearly got to be Tiffany Stratton, right? Because they're going to lead that into an angle with Jade. Like, because Jade and Naomi have established this story so freaking well and off the back of Naomi, right? That we've got to get there, right? No. Naomi gets her ass beat so bad at Evolution 2, only to culminate in the Rhea versus Io match being a 5-star classic. And then here comes Naomi. What? And she comes out there limping to the ring. We've already discussed this, but she ends up winning the Women's World Championship. And then she freaking comes out with the caution tape title. I haven't seen anybody do an editing of the title in such a way in many moons. I'm glad she did it. And her character, the heel persona is so freaking good. I'm telling you, if there is one void in the WWE that they have not been able to figure out how to fill, it's Naomi. When Seth got injured, they filled that void. They filled it with Braun. When Naomi got injured, however, the entire women's division has suffered. That shows you just how much of an impact this woman had on not just the WWE, but specifically the women's division. It lets you know how much all of these stories really hinged on how good her character was, right? So much so that when she cashed in and she went into the world title scene, the women's WWE championship immediately suffered. That scene immediately suffered. You could tell the loss, it was glaring. And then when she left for the blessing of pregnancy, we had to figure out exactly what we were going to do and figure out how we were going to do it. And that changed the whole landscape because now Io and Rhea are a tag team. They're in the tag team division now, right? And the WWE Women's Champion, Jade Cargill, is currently in a feud with the United States Champion because there's nowhere for her to go. Because Bianca is injured. She's never come back from the original feud, including Naomi and Jade and Io and Rhea. She's never come back from that. The entire women's division has suffered since she's been gone. I think it just speaks to the impact that she had on this roster, on the card, on the product in general, and the fans freaking loved her. And I'll finish with this and then I'll hand the floor to you. When Naomi had to relinquish the title, she never broke character. That was amazing. She was tearful. She was sorrowful. She was happy, but she still ran Adam Pearce down for his bald head And all of the nappy headed heifers in the back better be on notice because when she comes back, it's a wrap. Naomi is my pick. That was honestly easier than I thought. I cede the floor to you.
As much as we loved what Naomi did, it's been just a little too long for me. What she did was great. The lack of time it happened over does not make up for the absence for me. I think if we were doing a January through August award, it would be Naomi for sure. But I just can't quite get there. To me, it came down to Io Sky, who has every match she's been in has been great. This was her crowning year, her coming out party in a sense, and Becky Lynch with just the while she wasn't at the top of the card this year, it was just continued excellence in the what I'd say the three big angles she's been involved in, which have been she started and she had an extended feud with Lyra after her heel turn. She then moved into the feud with Maxine as the Intercontinental Champion and then eventually losing to Maxine. And she also had the feud along with Seth with Punk and AJ Lee. And she's, as we talk every week, she has been excellent throughout. I lean towards giving my vote to Becky Lynch
Okay.
for I think the same reasons probably the fans that did vote for him voted for Dom in that while she wasn't at the top of the card, I think every time she was on my screen, she was excellent. And that every something she did was the best part of the show. I think the evolution into the character she is now has been great, and it plays on our favorite word, all the equity that Becky Lynch has built and can pull from. I think she brought out a new side in Lyra. Whether or not they've capitalized on that, I'm not going to hold that against Becky Lynch. She played no small part in making Maxine a star, and she was the perfect foil, her and Seth, for Punk and AJ Lee, who was a huge return. But I don't think that is as fun if we don't have Becky Lynch on the other side. And every time she touches a microphone, I am, as you said, enraptured. Like it's captivating for me. I think she's the best female superstar of all time. And I think this year, without touching a world title, she showed why. That she can still be the best without sniffing the world title scene. And she's helped elevate talent and she's kept herself at the forefront of the conversation while doing it. So that's why my vote goes to Becky Lynch.
Now, I will say this. When Naomi first won the Women's World Championship, I remember thinking, you know who I want to see her go head to head with on the microphone?
Yeah, I know.
Becky Lynch. That's what I wanted to see.
When we get it, it's gonna be great.
Oh, it's going to be incredible. It's going to be incredible. But, just like with everything else here, you've got your pick, Skeeter. I've got my pick, but we are not the initial deciders of fate here. So the fans have spoken. You've got the envelope, Skeeter. What have the fans voted?
So you went a different direction than I thought you would.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean we don't have an interesting scenario coming out of this fan vote.
All right.
The fan vote was split with the two majorities being Becky Lynch and Io Sky.
Okay.
So I will leave this up to you, the man of this podcast, pun intended. How do we handle this? Because we've got one vote for your superstar of the year, female superstar of the year, Naomi. My vote went to Becky Lynch, and the fans are split between Becky and Io.
So let me ask you this, and I should have asked this earlier. When you look at the fan votes, are you tallying our votes into those fan votes with regard to like who the winners
No,
are? Okay.
no. This is strictly the fans.
Okay.
And
So,
we also had also receiving votes were Stephanie Vaquer,
okay.
our good friend Angel Meza,
Sure.
Maxine got a vote,
Huh. Okay.
Rhea got a vote,
Okay.
AJ Lee, our buddy Gage Johnson,
Interesting.
voted for
Interesting.
AJ Lee,
Okay.
and Charlotte got a vote.
Okay. Okay. I mean, that's a nice ballot of write-ins there. Our votes, the tied votes, are
Because
for
if the
Becky
fans are
Lynch,
getting one vote, they're splitting their one vote.
and that vote is split between Io Sky
And
and
Becky.
Becky. Okay. So I'm thinking, how do we handle it? So we've handled the others.
Once again, our loyal listeners ruining everything.
I mean, you know what? And to be fair, I should have figured out. I should have thought ahead about what happens if we have a tie. Like how do we split this? I did not know that these were going to be as split, but it happens when you have such a great set of picks, you know what I mean, under each category. This is bound to happen. But in the future, I will figure
and
out
an
a
even
better way to
number
handle
of
these ties.
hosts.
Yes. So let's see. It's split between Becky Lynch and Io Sky.
We didn't agree on a single category, did we?
We did one.
No, we did. The men's match of the year.
The men's match of the year.
That's the only one everyone agreed on.
Yes, that's the only one that everyone agreed.
Otherwise, we're either disagreeing, we're split, the fans are split. It's made for some interesting discussion.
Well, your pick was for Becky Lynch.
Yes.
In light of the fact that Naomi is not going to be in this contention, let me.
It was between Io Sky and Becky Lynch for me, and I thought you were going to pick Io Sky.
I considered it, and as I was going over this entire slate of superlatives here, I was just reminded of how much
I
was reminded of how impactful Naomi was.
Yeah, and that's what hinders it for me is she's just been gone long enough that it's like almost out of mind for me, which is not fair because it's a yearly retrospective, but when I looked back the totality of it didn't add up to, I guess, essentially a year's worth of greatness. I don't know.
Well, you've made your argument for
this is all crazy anyways.
You made your pick for Becky Lynch. I will say this. If I had to throw Naomi's name out of the picture, my pick would be for Io. And
yeah, I figured.
I just think that she has just shown all year long why she is the best pound for pound all around female wrestler in the world. She just does everything well. And where she lacks with regards to possibly her promos, I think she does so much in her promos to convey everything that she's trying to portray, that she's trying to convey. She just does it so well and over the top sometimes in a way that is just funny, that is humorous, and it just makes you laugh at some of the deficiencies. But where she's not deficient at is literally everything else. And I think we should throw this one to the fans, right? Since the votes were split, let's throw let's throw Io and Becky back to the fans, okay? Based on these two, based on the arguments that you've heard here today, who wins the Women's Wrestler of the Year between Io Sky and Becky Lynch? Skeener, this has been a very interesting breakdown. And going over this, it just reminds me of just how great of a year we've had in wrestling in a way that we didn't get to really sit back and take a look at until something like right now. And man, listen, if this is any indicator of what we're going to get in 2026, I can only imagine what the 2026 Lariat Awards are going to look like at the end of the year, man.
It was definitely a fun exercise, and everything was way more split than I thought it was.
Yeah.
I thought certain people would dominate certain categories, and we had differences of opinion. The fans had differences of opinion, and a lot of times differences of opinion with us. And that's what I think that speaks to how much good stuff there is out there more than anything. And that's why I think it's a great time to be a fan. And it's going to be a great time to be a fan in 2026.
I agree. Absolutely. Listen, guys, jump on Instagram. Skeener's going to throw these, what is it, three of them up?
Three,
Women's
three
match of
runoff
the year,
questions.
women's
And
wrestler
the
of the
both
year,
two super, yep, two wrestlers of the year.
and the two wrestlers of the year. Yeah, hop on there. Hop on there. Let us know based on what we've discussed here who your definitive winner is, and we'll talk about it on the first episode of the year. But hop on Instagram, make your voices heard so we can determine who these are.
Hey, want to shout out the people that voted that I didn't get to shout out by name elsewhere in this segment. My man Taylor Pearson, Big P. I don't think I got to shout you out. Eric Neufeld didn't get to shout you out, and our buddy Angel Meza.
Thank you guys for
But thank
participating.
everyone we mentioned. Thank you so much for participating. Hopefully, more of you can participate in the future. But everyone, but that did, thank you immensely.
Seriously, guys, you made this what it was. I'm so happy that we're getting the fan participation. I'm glad that you guys are enjoying the content that we're putting forward. But we're moving on to the next segment. It's going to wrap it up for 2025, and we'll be right back. Skeener. So, man, listen, it has been an incredible 2025. The Lariat Lounge began this year. We started doing this podcast. You came on board. You made this thing better, man. And we've just been rocking and rolling with every week professional wrestling talk, getting up here on Saturdays, eating pizza and watching PLEs. It's just been a really, really fun year, both in wrestling, but just in general, man. Just doing this podcast journey and taking these steps with the fans, putting this product out here and just having people engage with it on multiple platforms, interact with us on the socials, and just enjoy this thing that we call wrestling all together. It's been a really, really fun experience, man. And getting to the point where not only do we do this on a consistent basis and that we have listeners from all around the world. I mean, that literally, like in the States, in countries all around the world, in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, we've got listeners all over the place. And the fact that we are currently ranked like 139 in the US for professional wrestling podcasts, that's incredible, man. And it's far and away beyond what I even imagined when episode 1 dropped on Buzzsprout. And to see where we are now at the end of the year, on the last day of the year, I had to sit down with you and just do a little quick recap at the end of this long episode to just kind of get your thoughts, man, on our journey so far, just the world of professional wrestling, and, you know, where it is that you would love to see this podcast and wrestling go in the future. But, you know, your thoughts, man, what are your thoughts on the year of Lariat Lounge in 2025?
It's been pretty crazy. I mean, I did not start 2025 thinking I was going to be the co-host of a wrestling podcast, and that's a huge thank you to you for giving me not only an opportunity to do it, but it's a good outlet for us to just come on with a good friend and talk wrestling every week, even if no one listened. It would still be fun because of that. But I mean, helping in any sort of way to grow this with you has been a just a again like it's been a something you have blessed me with that you didn't have to. You could have picked anyone. You could have picked no one. But I love coming on here every week and doing this with you. You're the one that makes this go. I just come on here and talk and do some stuff on Instagram. You're the one that has to do just so everyone knows, you're the one that has to do all the recording and editing and all the hard stuff. And I do the easy part and get to sit back and say I'm a part of it when really you're the engine that makes this thing go. But it's been crazy, and to see, like you said, the stats and the numbers rising and people engaging. It's just fun to know that someone is out there and enjoying listening to us talk. And anytime someone brings it up or you have a story, like I think you said your cousin or brother that just follows through us and Cornette, like stuff like that's fun. And when I have people I wouldn't think listen, they're like, "Hey, listen to your show." I'm like, "Yeah, that's pretty cool." And yeah, never thought I'd be doing live streams and stuff like that. And that's been fun. That's been great sharing that with you and the audience. I don't have a vision. I just want to keep it going. We'll see where it goes. I'm along for the ride. Again, thank you for taking me on the ride so I can sit back and be the passenger princess here. But yeah, I look, we're gonna go places maybe we never expected. And I'm here for it. We'll show up every week. We'll come at you every week, as I always say. And it's kind of like WWE. We don't have an off season to plan. We're gonna come right back at you next week. Things are gonna evolve and grow week by week with us, with the fans, with everyone in the lounge. But it's been awesome. The show has. As far as WWE goes, I'll keep it short and sweet, but I think you can see the growth in overall what we've gotten. And we start the beginning of the year and our focus is let's just take the WrestleMania main events. I mean, we have Seth Rollins and CM Punk and Roman Reigns and John Cena and Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
And we're focused on these massive megastars we have. And here at the end of the year, we're talking about Braun Breaker and Obafemi and Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah.
And we've still got all those megastars we talked about, aside from John Cena, obviously, which was witnessing that is an experience in its own, a year-long farewell
Oh yeah.
tour. But we're going to roll right on, and the future is here. I mean, we got Braun Breaker maybe winning a title here next week. Maybe
Oh
in a
yeah.
week, we're back here talking about the new world heavyweight champion, Braun Breaker. And I think just seeing that evolution has been as poignant this year as maybe it has ever been since maybe, 20 years ago when you get Batista and John Cena. I think that's where I'm at is we're getting I don't want to say getting out, but one generation is aging out and retiring. We've got a generation behind them, the Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, they are still on top and carrying the load, but here are all those guys and girls we talked about in the next categories.
Yeah.
They're coming up and they're here, and I'm excited to see how it shakes out in 26.
Agreed, man. Like I don't think I can't remember a time when the influx of new talent has come up so consistent as it has in 2025. There's just been a consistent crop of fresh faces in the top tiers of the wrestling scene. Whether they're faces that are new from NXT, whether they're faces that have come from other companies, whether they are faces who are new to the business, or whether they're faces that have been on the roster and now they are elevated to top spots. There's just been a rotating of the soil, so to speak, when it comes to who is doing what in the world of professional wrestling. And you stated it best, and we talked about it on numerous occasions. There is a sunsetting of sorts in professional wrestling. And we're getting to see a lot of that in real time with a lot of our favorites from our earlier years of enjoying pro wrestling, sunsetting their careers. They're not wrestling as much. They're doing fewer dates. And you're getting a supplement of the talent that is currently here that are still in their prime, right? But who in the next 7-8 years, they're going to start winding down too, right? And you're getting a fresh influx of faces that are young, that are hungry, that are essentially, a lot of them are bred through the WWE system. And you're seeing a lot of that fruit come to ripen now. And they're showing it in the ability to really step into the WWE main roster system and thrive there. You're getting less and less situations where you have people who come up and they ain't ready. And, you've got more people who are ready and you're able to slot them.
Think of Stephanie Vaquer, who I think beginning of the year wins the NXT North American Championship. Or maybe she never won it, but that's where she's competing. And now at the end of the year, she's a world champion and on posters and on their trucks and all that stuff. I mean, just you see that before your eyes and you forget that like that's all happened within less than a calendar year.
Oh yeah.
That you've built someone from, you don't want to say she built and had no audience, but has expanded and become a star on a global stage. And it can happen fast, and it does happen fast, and it will happen fast next year too.
Oh, absolutely. And it'll just continue to grow, and that roster will continue to bloom and blossom. And you've got people who we talked about already, particularly in the men's division, who are like knocking on the door, and they're going to really shake things up when they get here. And then some of the people who like didn't even make the list, who were mentioned by some of the listeners, like Ethan Page, for instance, right? When he gets here, he's going to have a place and he's going to fill in, and he's seasoned and he knows what he's doing, right? And you've got people who are still in the wings, like your Ricky Saints. Let's not forget about your Blake Monroes. Let's not forget about your Jordan Grace. You know what I'm saying? Like these are people who are not even on the main roster yet. I mean, it's like the pipeline has been firmly established, and WWE is just in a great place to feed their main roster with people who can fill all of the spots that will be silently or not so silently vacated. Because I think we're probably going to get a well send off for AJ Styles, who, if you did not watch on Monday, is no longer tag team champion with Dragon Lee. So this opens him up to be retired by Gunther. And you know what I'm saying? I think that's probably going to be a thing in 2026.
I mean, we're definitely headed towards that.
We've been laying those tracks for the last couple weeks, and now he's no longer in the tag team division. So it sets it up, right? It sets it up. And Gunther wrestled against R-Truth. So, I mean, it's not like we're starting anything there. And so I think you're going to lead to an AJ Styles program. Maybe AJ Styles and Gunther at Mania or at the Royal Rumble. Who knows, right? But the point is, you've got all of these things that have been set up, whether it's new people, whether it's storylines that are being built, whether it is people that you built this year moving into next year. And if you just look at the Lariat Awards from today, right? You just laid the groundwork for so many things that you can build off of and you can work with in 2026. The sky is the limit genuinely for WWE, and the sky's the limit for this podcast. Skeener, I had nobody else that I was considering bringing into this position but you. We interacted on Ring Rust Radio, and I could tell that there was a kindred spirit there in the way that we responded to each other. And going and meeting everyone at WrestleMania 40 was just the seed that was planted in my head that maybe I could start something, you know what I mean, and try it out. And I always had envisioned a co-host on it, and you were the person that was front of mind, so you were always first pick. This podcast is,
as I'll say every time you say that, I appreciate it. I do not deserve that praise or status in your mind, but I'll take it.
Well, you deserve it. You deserve it. I gave it, and it is exactly what it was always.
I'm not giving it back. I'm not giving it back.
As you shouldn't.
Don't worry about that.
But the podcast has just kind of grown in ways that I didn't expect. I didn't put a lot of expectation on it, but I did want to throw my hat into this ring, not to win anything, but just to offer a space where wrestling fans can commune, wrestling fans can talk, wrestling fans can have voices. And just in the history that I've been interacting with pro wrestling podcasts and people who love pro wrestling, we are just a diaspora. And there's just a lot of different people who want a lot of different things. And so there's always room for voices in this space. And I just love watching wrestling every week. I love what they provide us. And I just wanted to, in my own little way, kind of reach out and touch the wrestling world and be a part of it. And so the Lariat Lounge was born. And it's grown. We are currently all time at 514 unique downloads. We are listened to in over 17 countries and 86 cities around the world. We are ranked 139 in the United States for a pro wrestling podcast. That's according to Apple. 2025 has just been a remarkable year. And I could not thank you more, Skeener. I can't thank the fans any more than I already have for what it is that you do, which is show up for us every single week to listen to two wrestling fans talk about the things that they love, which is the world of professional wrestling, the characters that are surrounding it, the stories that encompass all of this, and why all of these things matter. I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart and the depths of my soul, appreciate every single one of you for what it is that you provide to this podcast. And going into 2026, I've got plans, people. And I've got plans. Some of these
That's
things,
why he's the guy. I had no plans, no vision. He's got the plans and the vision.
well, listen,
So that's that's why he runs the show and I don't.
Listen, you are the social media czar. I am so thankful that is not something I have to worry about. Like, that is something that I am not a social media person. And I guarantee you folks, any interaction that you get on the socials, that is always Andrew Skeens. I am social. I'm not social media averse.
That statement is true.
That is absolutely 1000% true. I am not social media averse. I'm just not social media inclined. That's the best way to put it. I can do whatever it is I need to do on social media. I just choose not to engage. Like, that's just not what I do. And I'm glad that I have you here, Skeener, because that is something that you can do and you do well. And the fact that we started with 0 engagement and we've been persistent with this, and you've been timely with how you post, when you're posting in order to garner engagement. And this last episode of 2025, we've had more engagement for this episode and the episode prior than we've had the entire year. My hat's off to you and what it is that you do. You do it well. I appreciate you. And, as long as you continue to show up and hop in the passenger seat, this car is going to continue to ride the way that it's been riding. And that's been on the path to a successful 2026. So thank you, Skeener. Thank you, fans, for tuning in every week. And please tune in on the first episode of 2026, because we genuinely have a lot to talk about. I feel like when we come back, this will be after the first Raw on Netflix. We will know if CM Punk is still world champion. We will see what the
landscape is. A lot of stuff's going to happen because they're building this up as a big one.
They're stacking it up. It's going to be PLE size for a Raw. So, please come back and enjoy that with us. And we've got some things planned for 2026. I promise there will be some interesting things that will be happening with the Lariat Lounge. I've been kicking around some things in my head for some things that I want us to attempt to try and do. And we'll see if they succeed. And also, we will be doing our first in-person Lariat Lounge live for WrestleMania. I will be flying to Milwaukee, and Skeener and I will be hanging out for that weekend. We will be streaming live, and it'll be a lot of fun. So please mark your calendars ahead of time. I know everybody makes their WrestleMania plans early, right? So make your WrestleMania plans early and, join us for what I think is obviously going to be a huge WrestleMania event, and we'll be doing it live in person together. So Skeener.
Less than 4 months.
Less than 4 months away.
4 months.
And look, we are about to be headlong into WrestleMania season. And so it's going to pick up. And it'll be the first WrestleMania season for the podcast, because this podcast started after WrestleMania 41.
After, yes.
So it'll be our first WrestleMania season. So lock in, folks, because this is going to be a wild ride. But Skeener, please let all of our good listeners know where they can reach out to us, where they can interact with the polls that are going back up to resolve the final 3 Lariat Awards, and where they can follow along with all things Lariat Lounge.
The Lariat Lounge, this podcast that you all have made the number 139 wrestling podcast in the United States on Apple Podcasts. We are coming at you once a week, every week on all your favorite platforms, wherever you get your shows. That's Apple Podcasts, that's Spotify, that's YouTube. We're over on Instagram at the Lariat Lounge Podcast. That's where everyone listening that has an opinion is going to go vote and settle these 3 categories that we need these runoff elections in. That's at the Lariat Lounge Podcast on Instagram. And as always, if you got a mail-in ballot that we've got to count late, we will. And you want to say you don't want to get on Instagram and you want to send that in or send any of your thoughts on the show in this year, the categories, the awards we gave out, ideas for 2026, anything like that, send us an email at thelariatlounge@gmail.com.
Please, guys, interact. We love hearing from you. And listen, I will make a promise. We have not gotten anybody to send a single email to thelariatlounge@gmail.com. I don't blame you, because there's better ways to interact, but it is there. But if someone sends an email and it's short, but it's, detailed with whatever you want, if you send an email, I will read it on air for the first episode of 2026. That is my promise. So if you decide to pull your Twitter fingers out and move them from Twitter to the Gmail and send us a little message, I'll read it out for you just as a personal thank you for interacting with us. But genuinely, guys, from the bottom of my heart, this has been a labor of love, and I genuinely enjoy getting up here with you, Skeener, and interacting with the fans. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Can't say thank you enough. But from your host, Everson Godfrey, co-host Andrew Skeens, this has been another edition of the Lariat Lounge. We hope to see you guys back in 2026. Happy New Year, and please watch yourself on the way out.